Good afternoon, and welcome to the Birds and Beers podcast. I'm your host, John Ney. We're about a little under an hour away from the Eagles' second preseason game today. Last week's game, we learned a few things. Tanner McKee looked pretty good at the second QB spot. He played a real good game. Running backs Will Shipley and A.J. Dillon both looked good out of the backfield. Couple guys looking for the fourth and fifth wide receiver spots. Johnny Wilson and Darius Cooper had good games, especially Darius Cooper. He had 6 catches, somewhere around 82 to 90 yards. I think he had a TD. He looked pretty good back there. Couple spots that we struggled on, our defensive line did not look good. Uche and Ojulari got very little pressure on the quarterback last week. They were up against Cincinnati's number one offense. Our cornerbacks did not fare too well last week. Kaylee Ringo and Adoree Jackson, they got beat up pretty good. And, if you're not going to get pressure on the quarterback, that's going to be a trouble. That's really going to stick out, Ringo and Jackson over there competing for that spot. You have to get pressure on the quarterback. The defensive tackles, Moro Jomo did not play, so we didn't get a look at him. Hopefully he'll play today. Ty Robinson played last week. He did manage to get a sack, and I think he assisted on a tackle. So that was promising, but, they need to get a little more pressure there. Not necessarily getting the sacks, but they do need to get a little pressure there so the ends and the linebackers, when they're blitzing, can get to the quarterbacks. Trotter Jr., Jihad Campbell played okay. They made a few tackles. They didn't really stand out, but they looked okay. And, you had Sidney Brown back there at safety. He made a couple tackles, but again, the problem with Sidney, he made a tackle leading with his head down and was injured again. That seems to be a common thing for him the last year. He just can't seem to stay healthy and stay on the field. Makaba did not play. Hopefully we see him today. I believe, I'm hoping to see Jacorian Bennett at the cornerback spot today. There's still some things we have to work out in these final 2 preseason games. I don't expect many starters, if any, to play. We've seen what can happen with the Sunday night practice they had with Landon Dickerson going down. He had some meniscus surgery on his knee. Looks like it's just going to be, recovery time. He's shooting for the first game. I don't know if he's going to, first regular season game. I don't know if he's going to make that. Hopefully, it's not a lingering issue with him. It doesn't appear to be. It appears they dodged a bullet there. So that's a good thing. So beers today, folks. We're getting started a little early today with the 1 o'clock Eagles game. I'm drinking from the Brooklyn Brewery. I got a Brooklyn Pilsner here. It's a crisp Pilsner. It's pretty good tasting beer. I've had this in the past. Very good. Good Eagles game day beer. If you're going to be drinking more than 1 and 2, which, with the Phillies on today at 4 o'clock, there's a good chance I'm in for an 8 to 10 hour tour here today with the Eagles and Phillies. So, quite a few of these might go down, and the alcohol content's not too high like an IPA would be. So, it's a good Sunday beer for football, Monday night beer, watching the Phillies on the Saturday, Eagles, and, and so forth, college football, whatever you're into. Getting, that is good. Have a little more of that. Very good. Special teams. Jake Elliott had a pretty good game last week. A lot of people had some worries with Jake last year. I was one of them. He missed quite a few kicks last year, and I know we were nervous heading into the playoffs. But he rebounded pretty well. He had a good Super Bowl, and he looked good the other day. So, kickers they get the yips from time to time. Hopefully that's behind him, and Jake gets back to being the All-Pro kicker he is, and that would be a real good thing. Keelan Robinson averaged 24 yards on 3 kickoff returns. That was a positive there. It's going to be some of these backups are going to be on the special teams. We're hoping punt returning, kick returning. Like I stated last week, I don't want to see Cooper DeJean back there returning punts or anything like that. I like to see the long snapper Charlie Huget. Hopefully he'll play today. He did not play last week. I like to see him get in there, see what he looks like snapping the ball, blocking, etc. So again, folks, I know these preseason games can be tough to watch. You usually get a lot of penalties in them, but there is still some things that the Eagles need to work on, and there's some things we can watch. Again, the battling for the fourth and fifth wide receiver spots. The top three, Brown, Smith, and Dotson, have them locked up. The running back position, Shipley and Dillon, they have jobs here. It's just a matter of how they look. I want to see like how good they look. Dillon staying healthy first and foremost. And, in the event that Barkley, went down, or, can they carry the load? I believe they can. And, the tight end position, Goddard, Calcaterra, the backup, I think they're fine there. The O-line, we should get a look at some of the Eagles' depth today. Some of the backups playing in there. That's very important. Again, like I mentioned with Dickerson, Kenyon Green went down last week. He could be lost for the season. I'm not quite sure there yet, but it looks like he's having some shoulder issues, I believe it was. Wasn't really high on him anyway. This CJGJ thing, I think, was more of just a salary dump, to stay under that cap. So, they made the trade with Houston for Green, and, it was another project for Stoutland. So, I think we have some depth there on the O-line, and we're going to see it the next two preseason games. And hopefully they hold up in the event of guys getting nicked up during the season, and that happens. So, again, these games are, sometimes hard to watch, but there are some things to look at, especially in the first quarter. The first quarter, second quarter, you can tune in and get a little bit. The third and fourth quarters are hard to watch. So, I didn't even really watch the whole game last week. I kind of tuned out after the second half. I flipped back and forth. So, it's a tough spot. Trying to get through these last 3 weeks before the start of the regular season on, Thursday night, September 4th against the Cowboys, which I think we're all looking forward to. It's been a good summer, a warm summer. I think everybody's looking forward. The Phillies are playing pretty well at the moment. They're in first place. So I think we got a lot of good things to look forward to in September. With the Phillies down the stretch, their final 25 games or so, heading hopefully towards an NL East division title. And the start of the Eagles looking to hopefully repeat the Super Bowl season of last year. And I think they're in a good spot to do so, folks. Barring injury. If they stay healthy, they're as good as any team in this league, if not better. Their depth, I believe. A lot of people thought we lost a lot of players, and we did, and thought they'd be hard to replace. I don't think so. I think they have the players here to replace everybody they lost. They worked okay through free agency and the draft, and Howie's always working the phone. So the roster we see right now, the players getting cut. There could be another late player brought in, maybe a safety, maybe another cornerback brought in, late after other teams cut players, money reasons, whatever their reasons may be. Howie's always, staying active on them phones, looking busy, staying busy, and trying to improve this team. And, they have a taste of winning the last, 5 or 6 years, with these couple Super Bowls they've won, and Super Bowl they lost to Kansas City on a bad call, I will add. And defense was a little weak at the end of that one too. But, Jeffrey and Howie have the taste of winning now, and I think they want to add a few more, and I think they'll do everything in their power to try to do that, to keep this team successful and where they're at. So, folks, that's pretty much all I have today. Preseason's hard to talk about. I don't really want to get into what other teams are doing yet. We'll discuss other teams during the regular season, division standings, injuries, where other teams are at, where it looks like they're going. Hard to do here in the preseason. Just wanted to come back on, give you a little teaser of what we're looking at for the preseason. And, so like I said, that's pretty much all I have today, folks. So have a great Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the Eagles at 1 o'clock today, followed by the Phillies at 4:05. And have a great day. And I'll see you before every Eagles game this year, folks. Have a great weekend. Thank you.